Welcome into a Wildcard edition of Buffalo Bills Weekly, where we give you the 411 on everything going on at One Bills Drive. He's Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. In this week's episode, we'll dive into why this Bills team is different than last year's. We'll also tell you about some important matchups ahead of Sunday's game against the Broncos. The Bills finished the regular season 13-4. We've seen this group through 17 games. The playoffs are now here. Chris, what's one reason why you believe this team has a chance to make a run?
I have a lot of confidence in what has been a point-producing offense. Scoring points has not been a problem all season long. They, as a matter of fact, set a record for most points scored in a regular season with 525. They broke a team record for 40-point games this year with 4 of them. So I think even if they get into a shootout type of a game and they need a touchdown, that second-ranked red zone offense will deliver.
I think all that stems from their offensive line play. Their offensive line gives this offense time to be great. Josh Allen has time to find wide receivers who are going to beat defenders, and they also open up holes for the running backs to make defenses pay.
Yeah, I think it's about as balanced an offense as we have seen in the Sean McDermott era. Previous years, the offense has leaned on Josh's arm an awful lot, and I think James Cook and that crew behind him have really stepped up their game this year and made it a truly balanced attack that makes it more difficult to defend.
The goal at the end of the regular season is to peak at the right time. You want to play your best in the playoffs. The Bills have a lot of reasons to believe they're peaking right now. They have an offense that gives defenses headaches. Yeah. You have a slew of wide receivers who can make tough catches, and Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman. You have running backs who see the field so clearly in James Cook and Ray Davis. You have a defense that loves to force takeaways, and they do it in important moments, limiting opposing offenses' possessions.
Yeah, and I don't want to generalize this, but I just feel like the Bills have their best team in the McDermott era, and it goes to the points that you were just making, Maddy, because I think the offense and defense play off one another better than any other iteration of this Bills team in years past. And that's where it starts, that complementary football that we hear Sean McDermott talk about all the time. The reason the offense is so high-powered is because the defense is giving them 2 to 3 extra possessions every week, and against an opponent that has an inferior offense, the Bills can run off and leave them very quickly.
You've got a quarterback in Josh Allen who has 40 touchdowns. Once again, this offense just produces points every single game. And when you look at this group as a whole, they are so much healthier this year than compared to last year when this team entered the playoffs. And they lock up the number 2 seed in week 17. That means week 18, you get to rest your starters, which is so important at this point in the season when you don't have that number 1 seed. Nobody's playing 100% right now. And the fact that they could rest some really important players means so much heading into what could be a very long run in the playoffs.
And let's not forget the mental grind too, because this team had the division wrapped up a month and a half ago. So their mental grind, like it was last year when they were 6-6, and it's like, we got to win these last 5 games if we want to get in the playoffs, win the division, and you're grinding. So there's a mental stress. There was a physical stress of pushing all the way to the end of last season. That's all gone this year. And people say, look, injuries can happen on any given play in football. Yes, they can. But when you're grinding and the bodies are worn down, you're more susceptible to injury. And you look at all the guys they lost in week 18. It was Gabe Davis. It was Taylor Rapp. It was Tyrell Dotson. It was Rasul Douglas. Then the next week in the Wildcard game, it's Terrell Bernard. And then it's Christian Benford. By the time you get to play the Chiefs, you've got nobody left on defense. It's much different this year.
One thing this group has going for them is the fact that they have fresh legs and a fresh mindset heading into the playoffs. We're going to take a break, but when we return, the best press conference clips are coming up, and we'll tell you a key matchup in this wild card round against the Denver Broncos.
When we return, Maddy Glab interviews actor William Fichtner in this week's episode of You Heard, and then later catch the press conference highlights in Soundbite Roundup.
What's up, everyone? This is William Fichtner, and you just heard.
Welcome into this week's episode of You Heard, where athletes, celebrities, and influencers tell us all about their NFL fandom. In this week's episode, we've got actor William Fichtner joining us. William, thanks so much for taking the time to preview an exciting matchup against the Broncos on Sunday.
Yeah, here we go, right? Playoff time again.
It is playoff time again, 6 years in a row for this Buffalo Bills team. It's been amazing to watch what they've been able to do since they drafted their guy, quarterback Josh Allen, all the way back in 2018. And then in 2019, things started to really get good for this group. What's been a surprise for you watching Allen in his 7th year as the quarterback of the Bills?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that I love this year. And again, it's not like, to be a fan of Josh and to watch him from his rookie season on is to watch an incredible football player. They all don't come into the league ready to rip everything apart. They don't. They grow. There are things that people said about Josh in the beginning that he'll never get over this completion percentage thing. He'll never, it just doesn't happen. I remember listening to Terry Bradshaw saying, it'll never change. Well, sorry, Terry. Didn't quite go that way. But I will tell you, the most fun for me this year is not only to watch Josh be Josh, but isn't it just a blast to watch him? He'll pull off a play or a touchdown or something, and the camera cuts to Josh. And I don't think there's anybody on the football field that's more happier than him. He just smiles and just is like, and I love that because it's more than just, yeah, we got him in this and this. It's a happiness. It's a joy for him and his teammates. It's a place that they've earned, and it's just wonderful to watch it unfold every week. I just think that's I look for those moments in every game, and it makes me happy. It really does.
When you're thinking about how this team enters the playoffs this year, why do you believe the 2024 Buffalo Bills can make a run all the way?
Well, I tell you, it's like it is funny though. When I talk to I've most of my closest friends are still in Western New York, and I speak to my fellow fans and close friends all the time. And I got to tell you, this year it's a little bit different. It's not like we're going all the way or that. You just hear less of there's a quiet confidence about it. And like Josh always says after a game, what I'm looking at? I'm looking at going 1-0. I'm looking at the next game. I love that. Keep looking at it that way. Everybody look at it that way. You can't look beyond anything in this league. But I will tell you, I'm not so sure that the path isn't going to go through Kansas City this year. Let's go win this game this weekend. And let's give it to Denver. They played a great game last week against Kansas City, even though Kansas City sat just about everybody. But give it to Denver. You got to end up in this position in order to win a game like that to be in the playoffs. Good for them.
Well,
but this is Buffalo. But this is Buffalo this weekend. And you got a rookie quarterback, and you're coming here. And you're a great quarterback. But this is Buffalo this weekend. So I like my team.
Speaking of this matchup against the Broncos, you've got an impressive offense in the Bills, obviously, number 2 in the league this year in terms of averaging more than 30 points a game. But then they're going up a defense who's the number 3 defense in the league. They lead the league in sacks. It's a defensive line that is ferocious and aggressive and knows how to get after the quarterback. When you look at how these two teams are put together and their strengths, how do you assess this matchup?
Listen, there isn't a game this year. I remember like before the Rams game started, one of the last graphics that came up on the TV was, here are the starters that are out for the Bills today. I mean, they listed like 4 guys. And it seems like it's been like that almost every week. Losing Matt Milano right before the season started. I mean, that was a tough thing to deal with all of last year. I think Matt Milano is top 3 linebackers in the NFL. To lose them for just about an entire season last year, at least 12 games, I think, maybe even more. And then to tear his bicep this year. And I just keep waiting every week to see the graphic come up where no one is out on defense. I feel we're probably close to being as complete as we have been the entire season coming this weekend. I mean, you would know better than I, but I feel like, people are healing up. And let's face it, this is the NFL playoffs. We're going to need every bit of that. Like you said, the defense is number 3 right now. You put every single one of our starters in, and a lot of young guys out there that are really stepping to the plate. Boy, I think the best of our defense, we're about to see it.
We'll be right back on You Heard. Stay tuned. I want to talk about what you're known for, and it's your acting. If you go to your IMDb page, there are films after films after films that you've been a part of, and different type of films. How did you show, I'm going to put this in football terms, how did you show that I can be a positionless player in the acting industry and do so many different roles?
Listen, I love the way you phrase that. Nobody has ever said that before. I think there's a little truth in that. You know, I graduated SUNY Brockport. I have a criminal justice degree. And somewhere along the line, I took a couple of classes and really felt that I could do this. So long story short, I moved to New York and auditioned for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And I have always felt that I didn't know everything that everyone else knew that did it in high school and did it in college and was a theater major. So all I really cared about was to dive in to really try to figure out roles and to be good at that. And it meant more to me than being famous or anything. I wanted to be good. We don't put the cart before the horse, you know. It's not what you say, it's what you do. I wanted to be recognized as being a good actor. I still feel that way. I still aspire to that. So for my whole life, when I would get characters and an opportunity to try to figure something out, I would dive into that. And that probably gave me more joy than anything. I like preparing things as much as doing things. Now, that's not to say that every job I ever wanted, I got, but you know, that's the part that really turns me on about what I do. So I'm that special teams guy in the film world or television world or whatever. And that's just the way the ball bounced for me, and I'm happy about it.
What is a game with William Fichtner like? I know people aren't allowed inside the man cave, but if we had a bird's eye view, what's going on in there?
I tell you, it can get real loud. The decibel level can get like Rolling Stones at the odd loud. No, I mean, you know, sometimes I'm just like, I could be standing there. Yeah, I'll give you a little example. I'll be standing there real kind of calm, and all of a sudden, and then the Bills are down on the 8-yard line. Josh backs up. He runs in for a TD, and I'm just like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. And then it just goes nuts. And then I run upstairs and I kiss my wife, and I'm like, did you see that, honey? She's like, stay. And I'm like, no, see you at halftime. That's the way it goes. That's the way I roll.
I love it. William, thank you so much. We love the fandom. We love that you follow this team so closely, and we love your ties to Buffalo.
I love my hometown. I can't wait to get back. Listen, for everybody. God bless our team and all the players. Hope everybody stays healthy. You know, because I really feel you play your best game, we win. Everybody plays their best, we win. We have Josh Allen, and we've got many, many great players on this team. But in my opinion, right now, this year, right now, there's not a better player in all of pro football. Right now, there is not. There just is not. Not that guy, not with that heart, not with his ability. And you put that cast of people around him and all of our amazing players and Cook and everybody else. Oh, boy, let's just come on.
I agree. MVP this season and hopefully a Super Bowl down the road.
Super Bowl down the road. We need it. You know, everybody needs it and everybody roots for their teams. But we're Buffalo. We need it.
Exactly.
And we're going to get it.
Exactly. I agree. Thank you so much, William.
My pleasure. You take care of yourself.
When we return, catch the highlights from this week's press conferences in Soundbite Roundup.
We continue with the preparation that we've had all year. You know, I think it's a quote that my college coach had. It was, you dance with who brung you. You know, we're not going to try to change anything. don't have to do more or less. Just trying to continue and doing what we're doing, and make sure that we're, like I said, executing at a high level.
We're a one day at a time, one step at a time team. You know, we try not to look into the future. Obviously, we know what's at stake. Obviously, we know it's playoffs, but you know, we're sticking to what we've been doing all year. You know, one step at a time, leaning into the preparation, and the discipline and the fundamentals, all that stuff that's gotten us to this point. So, you know, there's no need to switch things up now.
Yeah, we still want to be us. That's something that Coach McDermott preaches, is be you with us. You know, Joe, he's a big believer in that too, of making sure that guys are loose and still dancing and having a good time, because at the end of the day, you know, we get to play this game of football that we've been playing since we were kids, and it is an absolute blessing to do. You know, and I think once you tighten up and tense up and stop having fun with it, that's when you get to some problems. So we're gonna enjoy this process.
Because I'm just so optimistic with the guys that I'm with in the game that I play. But reality is, you know, we have a pretty good team, and I don't have to use my optimistic brain to force that. We have a really good team. We have a really good coaching staff. We got a really good quarterback. We play really good defense. Now we're in the postseason. You got to take it one day at a time, as I said before. The game, in my opinion, isn't won on Sundays or Saturdays. It's won today. It's those moments that we're in right now that builds up the confidence. So whenever you play in a game and you hit with high pressure situations, you're in a comfortable mind state to be able to have make a half second decision faster than the other guy. And it's easier for me to do that in the postseason compared to the regular season, because you have 18 weeks of different variables. Now it's just 1 week, and like I said before, you break it down to one day and just small moments within that day.
I think it's just the belief that we have in each other, the trust that this team has, the love that this team has inside of this locker room. You know, we're all each other's biggest supporters, and you know, when we step on that field, we just want to see everybody play well. There's no egos, and again, it takes a tight-knit group to win a world championship and a Super Bowl, and again, that's our goal. But in terms of the belief that we have in each other, it's unwavering.
Welcome back into Buffalo Bills Weekly. The Bills are hosting the Broncos for Wildcard weekend. Denver earned a playoff spot this year due to their top 3 defense and a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix who can do it all. This game features a strength-on-strength type of matchup that we're so excited for. Buffalo's second-best offense against Denver's third-best defense. Denver's defensive front features a group that can move quarterbacks off their spot, muddy things up, making life hard for an offense. They lead the NFL with 63 sacks, and they blitz at the 4th highest rate. When you're playing this defense, you have to be buttoned up on offense. Good thing for the Bills that they've allowed the fewest sacks this year.
Yeah, and I think the key here is to just stay in manageable down and distance, and I think that burden falls on the running game. The offensive line and the backs really have to be efficient with the run game to set up manageable down and distance. So Josh Allen, if he's got to go to the air, is in more in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 situations. Anything 3rd and 7, 3rd or 8, the advantage obviously goes to the defense there, and the pass rush can get home because the routes for the receivers have to be that much longer to extend the drive and get a first down. Stay in manageable down and distance.
Sean McDermott said from the very beginning of the season, we want to have a 2-dimensional offense. These are the types of games where that 2-dimensional offense has to shine. Flipping it to Denver's offense, they've got a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix who made the Broncos a top 10 offense this year. Nix is a confident passer. He's got a mature presence in the pocket and even poses a threat on the ground. He ranked top 10 this year in total touchdowns, 34. How has he brought this offense to life?
Well, I think he's been helped immeasurably by the 60-plus starts he had in college, Maddy. He comes in as a well-groomed rookie quarterback. He's seen a lot of defenses. There isn't much he hasn't seen, and I think that's why Sean Payton has had so much confidence in putting a ton on his plate within this offensive system, because one thing they don't do is run the ball consistently well. So he's had to really carry this offense, as you pointed out, and I think because of that, it's allowed him to mature that much faster through the course of this season.
Nix is susceptible to those rookie mistakes, identifying a defense incorrectly, throwing into the wrong lane. Nix has 12 interceptions this season, and when Buffalo faces rookie quarterbacks, they turn the aggressive meter up a notch. They blitz at a higher rate, and they suck the life out of offenses. Which matchups can Buffalo capitalize off of?
Well, I think the most important one is Christian Benford and Cortland Sutton. The offensive passing game runs through Sutton because that's the one thing they've been able to rely on all season long. He's been a steady performer for them. If Benford can neutralize that matchup, then the Bills have the Broncos right where they want them, because it's advantage Buffalo, I think, across the board with every other matchup on the field. So Benford wins, the Bills win everywhere else, and that will speed up, conceivably, Bo Nix's internal clock in the pocket, because they'll have him in more long down and distance situations. Pass rush gets home, he hurries a ball, makes an ill-advised decision, and the Bills get the takeaways we've seen them get almost every single week this season.
You can catch the game this Sunday, January 12th on CBS and Paramount+. Chris will be on the radio with the call, so to hear him and Bills legend Eric Wood, you can listen to WGR 550. We want to thank you for tuning into Buffalo Bills Weekly. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab.